So here we are. Hopefully everyone is having a great start to the weekend. I want to do something different with this stream. I want to basically check what's going on with regards to your career questions. On top of it, I also want to see if we can do like maybe one or two mock interviews. It would be pretty fun because I've been a huge advocate of mock interviews and I've been talking non-stop talking about it with everyone. So yeah, let's first let's do for half an hour all the questions you might have, and once we are done with the questions, then we'll probably pick maybe one or two people randomly to do mock interview. I'll send out a meeting invite for them to join in. So let's see. I think it's going to be pretty fun. And yeah, if you see my eyes are being red, I just went to swimming today, so that's why the eyes are not cooperating, and also it's close to 1 a.m. where I'm right now, so that's why. Let's wait for people to join in. By the way, if hey Siddharth, how are you? Well, I do have a goal set up for this live stream. Let's see if we complete it. If we do hit our goal, I plan to do like routinely these mock interviews, but it's only if you can. I want to check if we can hit this goal. So any interview guidance for low level design round? I have upcoming round in an MNC. Okay, so for low level design, let's just talk about what kind of companies what kind of scenarios they might ask, right? Let's take a scenario of Twitter. Suppose you are being asked that, hey, let's say if you want to design Twitter, what would be your thought process and what would be the low level design that you would be getting into? First you will create the requirements, okay, that what are the total number of users you are talking about, where you are going to store the data, what functionality you want your users to have. So first functionality would be user should be able to sign up. Second functionality should be user should be able to basically request to follow someone or just follow someone without a request. Okay, let's just say that one way they can follow anyone. Third functionality would be that user should be able to post something on their Twitter feed, and fourth functionality should be that user should be able to see something on their Twitter feed. So currently we talked about 4 functionalities from the point of view of Twitter. Okay, now for each of these functionalities you want to design you want to go into depth basically at the low level design level. First would be high level design. You would talk about that where the geographical servers would be and how they would communicate and how you would distribute the load and whatnot. But let's talk about the low level design. So for the first feature, you want your user to be able to sign up. What would be the low level design for that? You want to have a REST API that is going to store the information regarding like user metadata. So you need to create basically a method, let's say user sign up, something like that. For that particular sign up, user is going to see what kind of basically information you need. So you need like first name, last name, user ID, password. Maybe you want to enable like identity provider based sign on or whatnot. So let's just consider all of these scenarios, and for each of them you need to have a way to specify user metadata. Then for password you want to store it as some sort of hash function, and these kinds of things. So basically this would be sort of how you would drive your low level design interview, that you would start by dictating the requirements, then you would talk about like overall broader case high level scenario, and next you would go okay, that yeah, in the low level, for each of these functionality, this is how I want my underlying schema to look like, underlying REST API to look like. Now under the behind the scenes you also want to store the data, so you can also talk about that, hey, I can have like a users table that is going to store these information, and I can have like a preference table or notifications table, whatnot. So yeah, just think of it like this. Hey Mukesh, so you have an interview with Ericsson tomorrow. Now of course, Ericsson is a huge company. So what position do you have? First, let's decide, and then we can talk about what the interview might be. By the way, did you reach out to your recruiter asking that what kind of interview it is going to be? Because that's pretty important. So yeah, by the way, Siddharth, I hope I solved your question, that this is how you approach a low level design in my opinion, and also it's more like conversation around different people. Okay, Siddharth is asking if I'm not able to figure out this top to bottom approach, but when it comes to concurrency control and everything, or basically database part, that's where I'm bit stuck. I'm able to figure out this top to bottom approach, but then when it comes to concurrency control and everything, or basically database part, that's why I'm a bit stuck. Okay. Now concurrency, in my opinion, is something that you have to take with a grain of salt. Like basically you want to decide that where you want to have like a concurrent behavior and where you want to have a consistent behavior. So it's always going to be this debate that what piece of data is more important for you, such that you are willing to sacrifice concurrency for that. Let's say if I have created a tweet, I want to make sure that the data is consistent, as in that the tweet should propagate towards all the servers and it should be written under my name. So even if it takes like 15 seconds or 10 seconds for that tweet to be posted, that's fine. But if I want to create a system that shows that what are going to be the views of below any particular tweet, now that system, I don't want to have that much level of consistency. I can have like a concurrent behavior and even slight variation in the behavior, as long as it syncs up in the end. So that's how you can approach it. Now also when you speak about like thread control, and if that is what you're talking about regarding concurrency, now that's a very difficult topic in its own. To be honest, I personally struggled with it, so I won't lie to you. It only comes with the practice, but yeah, overall you can approach it from that point of view. Okay, YouTube Sai is asking me that, sir, I started DSA before 1 month. Again and again I'm restarting, but I'm not able to understand, and even more practice. Was my preparation style or practice wrong? You only started YouTube Sai like 1 month ago. I think you will need to spend more time. Basically 1 month is not sufficient for DSA. That's a given fact. And the other thing is, if you are facing problems with your DSA journey, like just first look at a problem in the initial stage. Okay, first look at the problem, maybe spend like 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes, whatever time frame you want to set up for yourself. If you're getting nowhere in those 20 minutes, just go and look at the solution. If you are at the beginning, let's say you gain some more maturity and now you are at a stage where you understand what is being asked of you, I would just say in that case, like spend 5, 10, 15 minutes and then look at a hint. And even after the hint you are not able to solve it, then go and look at the solution. After like 3-4 months, I think, yeah, if you should at least come close to some solution, and that would be like the daily progression. Now in my opinion, I can suggest you that just try to practice at least like 2-3 questions a day. So if you do that diligently for a month, I'm pretty sure you would have solved like 90 questions. So if you solve 90 questions, I think you would be at a decent level. So that's what I would suggest. Ex-captain is asking that, sir, can I start DSA before development? Of course you can start DSA before development, no issues with that. But that doesn't mean that DSA is the only thing that matters. You also need to have good understanding about software development as well. Okay, Mukesh, you have an interview as a Java developer. What kind of interview it is going to be? Will it be behavioral interview? Will it be technical interview? Will it be system design interview? Did your recruiter tell you that? Like, how many years of experience do you have? Is it for a junior position or an intermediate position? So these are the questions that if you can answer, maybe I can suggest some things. But best path in situations like these, whenever you have an interview with any company, just reach out to your recruiter, ask them that, hey, what is the expectation from this interview, how many rounds of interviews can I expect, what kind of questions they might ask, are they looking more related to Java based, like Java and Spring Boot kind of questions, or are they looking mostly on like system design or maybe like DSA type questions. So you could have asked these questions. Okay, Abhi is asking that I started doing DSA, but the problem I am having is that how to approach this problem unless I look at the solution or see in the YouTube. I'm unable to solve this issue. I already spoke about it, Abhi. It just comes with the practice, but yeah, when you start solving the problems, if you have spent decent amount of time, just make sure that you first go and check out like hints and see if you are able to build your solution based on hints. If you can do it, it would be a great step forward. And if you are still facing issues, and if your like confidence is like really being hurt because every time you pick up a question and then you have to look at the solution, then I would suggest just go and try to do like easy questions. Try to solve easy questions. That would be like a morale boost, and then tackle the difficult ones. Okay. Okay, but the only topics of array and strings with patterns and searching and sorting techniques. So okay, you only covered these topics. They are very like small set of problems. Yeah, I think you need more practice. YouTube Sai. Okay, Siddharth is, so in one of the interviewers asked, there is a microservice architecture and two microservices are trying to update the same row. How will you manage that? And they went deep into the, oh, it's a pretty common scenario. I think it common answer would be like a race condition. So whichever microservices reaches first, that gets to update that row. But let's say that one microservice A decided that they want to update that row. At the same time, there exists like another version of data in some other server. Let's say that the data is being replicated, and some other microservice is trying to update the same row in the other table, which would be like a pretty bad design, because you always wants to if one microservice is able to update the data, and let's say that there exists like 5 copies of that particular data, you always wants to make sure that if you are maintaining the consistency, all 5 should be updated, or you should only update, let's say microservice 1 and microservice 2 should only update a single DB, not two, like not all of the DBs that are replicas of that DB. That sync job can run later down the road, that you can do for disaster recovery purposes. So one option would be race condition, that whichever microservice reach first can get to update that data. But then also there is a problem that, let's say microservice A wanted to update column A, and it currently has like an older version of that particular column. Same time microservice B also wanted to update that particular row or that particular column, and now when microservice A started updating the column, it's no longer the same column that it's updating, it's going to be a separate column. So how do you take care of that? So usually you put locks on database update, so whenever one microservice is updating any particular row, another one does not get to update the same row, and maybe they need to retry the transaction. So if you try to incorporate a solution like that, then that is going to create an added layer of latency. So that is also not ideal for all the scenarios. So what you want is, number one, decide that what business functionality makes sense for both the microservices if they wants to update the same row, and if both of them really wants to update the same row and you cannot put like a locking mechanism over there or a race condition, then it's only maybe like post update cleanup job that you have to take care of. that if something like this kind of scenario happens, maybe you put that update request in a queue and handle it later. So yeah, these are all the different options that you can go ahead with, and it can lead to some pretty interesting discussions. So yeah, I'm going to steal this question, by the way. It's a pretty good question. And any resources for this? Yeah, of course. There is a pretty good book written by, I think the guy's name is Alex Zhu, on system design interviews. So that's a good resource. Second, cracking the coding interview, but I would say it's like a dumbed down version if you are only trying to think about from like a system design point of view. And yeah, next thing is just like reading bunch of blogs. Also, Byte Go, it's a good newsletter to subscribe to for these kind of information. Like they provide good information. Okay, can I go next topic from your playlist, like array video? I can jump to strings and linked list, and yeah, of course, you can go to all of those questions, YouTube Sai. I think they should be sufficient. Also, you can check out like neat code 150 list or the Google Doc list that I have created. Like you can use either of them. They all provide like a decent comprehensive list of questions. Okay, so won't it cause, yeah, of course it, yeah, so that's why I'm saying, right, which level of isolation is preferred in this scenario? I'm once again, Siddharth, it's not one straight answer. You first need to understand the business logic, that what makes sense. Maybe one microservice trumps the other microservice. If they don't trump, if both are equally important, then you want to handle it post, like in some other way, by having like a queue where you store this update kind of scenario and try to update it later. Or you can put a race condition that whoever comes first would basically get to update the row, and yeah, whoever comes second and also gets to update the row. So okay, so it is about designing a payment gateway. If it's designing a payment gateway, now it makes it more critical. So if I think the only solution in this case is number one, race condition. But if let's say the row that second microservice is trying to update and it currently has a stale copy of previous one, then in that case you need to check like the last updated column. So what would happen is that, let's say currently microservice A and microservice B, they both wants to update a same row. Okay, now microservice A first got a copy of that particular row. In that particular copy, it had a column named last updated. So it knows that lastly this column was updated, let's say 5 minutes ago. Now at the same time, because there is some another service that is also trying to conflict and that gets to update the same row, it was able to update basically within, let's say, before microservice for A was able to could update. So now that column is just updated like 1 second ago, and now microservice A was in middle of updating it and realizes it that when I started the update process, it was updated 5 minutes ago, but now it shows that it was updated just like 1 second ago, which means microservice A would need to handle it differently. So maybe we can like try to redo the solution or retry the entire update process. It would be slow, but it's a payment gateway, so it's a critical server. So we want to make sure that we handle that scenario or that condition. So that's a pretty good case on how you can handle it. I hope this answers your question, Siddharth. Okay, Sunny Singh is asking that, sir, what is default index created without primary key? So sorry, sir, what is default index created without primary key? Oh, if you take a look at the example of current relational databases, like even if you don't provide a primary key, they have a way to index the information. And that's what I think you are referring to. Now, in that case, basically you want to make sure that how this is going to work out. So you can, of course, this question you can ask in like most common databases, that especially like relational databases, that they already gets like a default index being created. So normally you would provide a primary key within an index, but if there does not exist a primary key, then it automatically tries to index the data in such a manner that it will create a cluster of stored data, so that the physical rows of layout on the rows are actually stored in a way. So maybe like a sequence of how it was updated, or how it was provided, or maybe uh, in a way how it's done. Like, to be honest, I'm not 100% sure on how the whole thing operates, but I can always check, because in my opinion, from what I have heard, that typically this would lead to like a degradation in performance, because now you are creating now the database is creating unnecessary index, which might be used or might not be used. So in that case, overall if the data grows larger and larger, like millions and millions of rows, then it would be difficult to maintain that index. And if it's not even being used, then I think it would be unnecessary. So that's what I presume. Now, I might be completely off, but yeah, who knows. Govind Rajes, I often fail in manager round, behavior round, scenario based questions. Why? Scenario based questions are like one of the easiest to tackle. You should be scoring like all the good brownie points in those questions. You should never be failing because of behavioral interviews. Like fail for technical or system design, that would be like a badge of honor, that hey, I gave 15 technical interviews and I failed in like 14 of them. That's fine. So if you're failing in behavioral interviews, maybe what you need is like more practice with outside of your friends. Just like go and talk to people, understand that maybe there is something wrong with your communication style, or maybe you are not able to convey the stories or prepare better in terms of like what scenarios you have faced in the past. Abhiram is asking that for cracking interview, is DSA enough, and how the interviews go on in the big companies. Number one, DSA is not enough in the big companies. Let's take an example of Amazon. Okay, in an Amazon, if you are applying for SDE1 or SDE2 position, typically you would go through first of all a coding assessment. So in that coding assessment, of course, DSA is the paramount thing that you should know. That coding assessment is being sent to you across the link. You can do it on your own. You have like a week's period. Now, once that is done, typically you go through like 3 or 4 rounds of interviews with people from Amazon. So those interviews are going to include 1 or 2 technical interview problems that would be like strictly DSA based. Now even in that interview, they are not only judging you based on whether you can solve lead code problem or not. Important thing would be, are you able to understand that what kind of problems they are suggesting? What is your communication style? Do you ask the right questions? Do you ask clarifying questions? Do you ask the edge cases? Can you create test cases on your own? What does your thought process looks like? If you are faced with like some difficult situation, how do you take care of it? So that's important. Next, they are going to ask maybe like one system design. If it's SDE2, if it's SDE1, they might do one system design at very easy level, or they might not even do system design. And then there would be one behavioral interview. Sometimes they also do like bar raiser interview. So both would be behavioral interviews. So it's a combination of a lot of things that you should be good at in order to be able to crack those technical interviews. So DSA is not going to be enough. Okay, what is the ideal roadmap to learn web development as a college student? Start making websites, or start making backend systems, just keep on creating your own projects and just keep on solving them. If you want to do like a simple project, I would suggest create, when the Chrome is down and when Chrome is not connected to internet, they have this dinosaur that keeps on running, and it's a game that you can play. Create a game like that. It's going to be a simple project, but it's gonna look really good on your resume, and also it's going to look exceptionally well for your placement interviews. You can just open your laptop and run it in your local system and just show it to them. Or even better, if you have some money, maybe try to host it in like some server online, and just create a website and then show them in an interview that hey, go to this website and you would be able to see what project I did. So it would be pretty cool. Okay, Abhiram is asking, what do you think current job market scenario is? Is it good? No, it's not good. Current job market is, especially like in North America, it's not good. I don't know about the Indian scene. I think India is a growing economy, so that is good. That's a good news that they might be hiring. But yeah, in North America, it's getting tough at this moment. But needless to say, good smart people are getting like exceptional offers. That is still happening. So it's not that job market is like completely down the drain. Okay, when we expect your high level design course, it's not going to be a course, Govindraj. So what I'm going to do is and I have to do this, so it's still in progress. I'm going to create at least 100 videos of different like high level design and low level design kind of scenario. What I'll do is, let's say video title is going to be design Google. Okay, then we are going to talk about that if you are being asked this say exact same question in a system design interview, how would you tackle it? We'll talk about what requirements we are going to have. Then we'll talk about what does the high level design scenarios looks like. Then we'll talk about what does the low level design looks like. Then we will answer some generic questions that how you would do, like let's say load balancing or geographical replication or disaster recovery scenario, all of those things. And for each of those 100 scenarios that I have thought in my mind, I want to create like maybe 30 minutes to 60 minutes for each of them depending on the complexity. So if it's something like design Google or design Amazon, I want it to be like 1 hour long video. If it is something smaller, maybe like design Google books or something, maybe like 30 minutes. But that's what I want to create for my system design course. So I remember last time I told you about the 60-hour course that I've been working for with free code camp. So that is in progress. Once that finishes, I'll find time and across like throughout the entire fiscal year 2025, I'm going to make somewhere between like 100 videos on system design for each of them. And I want to like I can't say it with certainty, but I want to make sure that that course needs to be like one of the very high level courses, because when I started with this channel, I was new to YouTube. I didn't know much and I didn't know how YouTube works or how to make videos or whatnot. I have already gained that knowledge. Now what I want to do is, with each video, I want to see how best I can produce. Now I still have a lot of things to learn in terms of editing and that kind of things, but I know that I will create video in such a manner that even if the person is listening it for the first time and does not have much background about tech, should still be able to understand and keep up the pace. And yeah, so hopefully one day, but pretty soon. I'm not. I know. I have said it should be ready. It's taking longer, but I'll put more efforts to it. Okay, we received two call back from bank. One of moving taxing to success and one to move to failure at the same time. And TXN is actually success. So how will you manage that? Okay, we received two callbacks from bank. One of moving transaction to success and one to move it to failure at the same time, and transaction is actually success. How will you manage that? Once again, I'm just saying that in this kind of scenario you can't, so race condition would not be like the correct way to figure it out, right? Because so first thing, when both transactions got triggered, so trigger time, that would be important. And second, let's say that first transaction's intention was to mark it as failed, so it would expect that the previous result should have been success, and it would be vice versa for the other one. Okay, so in that case, uh once again, I think it's just a pure simple case of column that one microservice is trying to update no longer exist because another microservice already updated that. So how do you deal that? So in that case, for both the microservices, whenever they are trying to update any particular row, when they start, they should expect that, okay, this is the row we are trying to update. And before they make an update, if that row has already been updated, you basically wants to put it in a queue and let the queue handle it. That's what my approach would be. And once again, I could be absolutely wrong. This is what I would suggest, because there is a conflict. Or you, if it's a financial transaction, you might want human intervention. So that can also be one of the options, that hey, both services wanted to update the same row or same column, and both values were opposite values, and both came at the same time, and there is a conflict within the given impending transaction which could have monetary impacts or financial values. That would be a classic case where you would put it in a queue, generate a report, and let someone authorized to handle that. That can be one option. Now, it's very unlikely that this scenario would happen like 10,000 times in a day. This would happen once, maybe in a day. So that's how you can handle it. Yeah, that can be one of my suggestions. But once again, pretty good scenario. Sunny Singh is asking, sorry about, what about B tree? Oh, binary tree. Binary, are you talking about binary tree, or are you talking about what's the question? I'm sorry, I'm trying to understand your question, but Sunny, can you please elaborate? What do you mean? Sorry, what about B tree? Oh, you mean self-balancing index. Okay. I think self-balancing tree to create non-primary based index. Is that what you mean, Sunny? Just ask the full question and it would make more sense. Abhiram is asking that I had participated in TCS round 1. The way questions are asked are same in big companies, like different scenario. I think TCS would not be like so difficult, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. As I'm pretty sure TCS bar is not at the same level as like some other top tier companies. But yeah, TCS, they do, of course, they do conduct decent interviews. Okay, Siddharth, any resource suggestion or basic SRE based resources like Kubernetes? I think there are a bunch of courses on Udemy, and also if you can check out Free Code Camp, it's a pretty good place. So you should be able to find all the basic like SRE related resources or questions or courses. Okay, Manish is asking that I am in my 6th sem, decent with DSA concept, practicing questions consistently, following up your DSA videos, but lack solid development projects. How to divide my time to be placement ready in next sem? Create some decent questions. Create some decent projects. There you can find bunch of projects that you can do over just a single weekend, and it's gonna look great on your placement. But you need to find you need to find time to create those kinds of projects. Also create some projects that you are currently facing on your day to day in your college. That's going to look really good. That if you can create any such scenario that, hey, in my university or in my college currently, we face this kind of problem. So I try to see if I want to solve, let's say, this problem from a tech point of view, how would I do it? And I've created a prototype and a solution for that. The funny thing is, that's how actually Facebook was born, because it was born out of a university internal chat group, and it exploded into like one of the biggest companies in the world. So yeah, you still have 6 to 7 months. It's a decent chunk of time. You can actually get few projects for you. And if your financial means, or if your college or university supports where you can host a website or any kind of project, try to do it. If you don't have such money, and if you only want to spend minimum and still want to make an impression, create an Android app or iOS app. and try to publish that. At least try to publish Android app. iOS app would be more expensive, but if you can do that, that is going to look fantastic on your resume. That imagine if I am interviewing you and I realize that, hey, you have created this app, let me just open my phone, I can see that, and boom. So yeah, it's going to look really good. Okay, Ganesh is asking that what should we learn to crack interview in big MNC companies? Uh, I would say DSA, system design, behavioral interviews, and communication skills. So combination of these four things are going to be really important. For each one of those, you need to have separate strategy and try to provide enough time. Now, if you are a fresher, you don't need to put much emphasis on system design, but other portions are going to be important. Let's say you are studying and you are in university. If you are in university, you don't have much behavioral interview kind of experience, so that too you can put on the sidelines. Then in that case, you would mostly be judged based on your DSA skills and your communication skills. So try to work on that. Now, funny thing is, with actually cracking the interviews in big MNC companies, uh, it's even difficult to get an interview. So first, try, you need to work quite hard for in order to get an interview before you can actually start thinking about from that point of view. So yeah, uh, I hope this answers your questions. Okay, Mayank is asking that I have done BCom and want to enter an IT industry. How to do MTech in computer science after BCom? Should I need to do MTech or MCA to get a job in IT industry? I think, Mayank, I also replied on your YouTube comment that you had posted. I just want to say you don't actually need an MTech degree or something. Like, very few times I have personally experienced where somebody wanted actually and a full length, I would say, course, or somebody did actually ask me that, hey, what have you studied? Most of the time it's they go through my resume and they see what kind of skills I have. So if you try think it from this perspective, if you want to do MTech, it's going to cost you anywhere between like 1 to 4 lakhs, depending on whether you go to like what kind of college you go to, and it's going to take 2 years of your time. If you put 2 years on yourself and you find the path that what are the current hot skills in the market and work on that, I'm pretty sure you can learn all of them in like 6 months to a year, and you can actually get a job around that the same time. So I would much rather suggest that maybe you do a boot camp, or you do some sort of like a bunch of Udemy certifications and try to build your profile that way. Uh, I personally have done masters, so I'm not saying that. I'm not just saying without that. Uh, I have masters in computer science degree, and no one has asked me that what have you studied in my entire career. So maybe in like my first job, but apart from that, nothing. So that's why I'm saying that spending 2 years on education is not that great unless you just want to like experience the time in university and maybe make some friends that way. Then in that case, it everything is fair game. Okay, Jaiba, does FANG companies hire profile prefer mobile developers front end or back end? I think it's like obvious that they have more back end developer positions. That's a given fact. But the thing is, the engineers they hire, they very rarely go for like specialization, because they know that if they hire smart person who is willing to spend time on preparation and also loves technology and be able to prepare on that, even if they don't have much experience on the front end side, if you put them on test, they would be able to clear it pretty quickly. So yeah. Okay, Manish is asking that also, sir, confused about LinkedIn. At this stage, I can't get a rank in my contest, and first, I want to be great at problem solving. So, what can I post there? Daily lead code is not the thing to post on LinkedIn. I mean, Manish, you don't have to, everyone can't be ranker or top tier person, right? Let's say you create your own website and you write an entirely huge blog on that, that hey, I was facing this problem in my college hostel where if we wanted to get like food coupons, it was being handed out manually, and many times if you're late by 15 minutes, the warden might not be there. So I created an online automatic distributed like food mess canteen distribution voucher system, something like that. And that can basically keep track of that, what hostel ward student got how many tickets based on the amount they paid. And uh, this is what I created. If you write a post like this, it would be much more impressive than writing a post that hey, I scored 513th on today's code chefs competition. So in my opinion, interesting projects that solves real problem would be much more important. Just my opinion. Okay, B tree index. So ChatGPT says default index is B tree index. Okay, if ChatGPT says, yeah, it could be that. By the way, many databases, they also implement like default index, and yeah, it can be that way. So how much DSA is required for 3.5 lakhs per annum job? I mean, it's hard to quantify DSA in like lakhs per annum, but in my opinion, I know a person who spent like 6 months learning everything about like DSA and ended up getting a job worth 44 lakhs in their first job for EA Sports. So you have the answer that how much DSA you want to prepare. I'm a third year student, and you know the funny thing is your name says let's crack it, and then you are asking that how much DSA is. I mean, dude, just like study all. Why are you going for 3.5? Remove the point. Just go for 35 LPA. Hey, I'm a third year student and currently in 6th sem, and you know from next semester our placements will start. So how can I prepare for placements like I have completed DSA? I just told you. Create interesting projects, maybe a mobile application, maybe a website, maybe like uh, some problem that can be solved. Let's say you are a group of friends, you are young, you go out, you spend money. Now you don't, you want to see that how would you split your expenses. Maybe create a website or an app that basically splits the money automatically and keeps track of who paid how much, and divide it equally or based on different shares. And if you pay money to someone else, it can settle it on that website, and then you can keep track of the history. If you create an application like this, it's going to be pretty fantastic application or website. So that's just my opinion. Oh, thank you, Manish. I am also grateful to have like people like you reach out and ask me questions. So thank you so much. Sir, how to stay consistent with preparation? Just the motivation comes from within, and all you need is discipline. Like I personally struggle with discipline. I don't have great discipline, so that I'm able to do things daily. So I'm trying to improve on that. I'm pretty sure you must be like quite younger than me, so and you still have like pretty happening things happening all around you, maybe your friends and whatnot. So in that regard, it might take time away from you and you might not able to prepare or stay consistent with your preparation. The only thing I would suggest is try to celebrate small victories. That, let's just say, hey, I'm going to do like hang out with my friends and do this and do that, but I'm also trying to complete at least like 5 questions this week on my preparation. And if you do those 5 questions, of course, like reward yourself with something small or something sweet or something, whatever. So that can be one way to stay motivated. A Rawat is asking that I have completed DSA and web development. Yeah, I think I already addressed your question, Rawat. Okay, Kim Jing is asking that, hey bro, last time missed your live. How are you? Wanted to ask questions on how shall I proceed and what would you do in my situation. I am working in a decent product based company for almost 2.7 years. My tech stack is Java and MySQL. My role is debug developer, which means I have to solve customers' queries. I don't like this job, to be honest. I want to switch, but the problem is my current company only uses pure Java and no frameworks. Looking back to prepare, I started knowing that outside world Spring Boot are vast, and it would be pretty good. I would require Spring Boot. Uh, okay. I think I lost you. Okay. Okay. I'm not focusing on FANG on some product based companies. That would be good work life balance. Every time I wanted to prepare for the interview, I'm getting overwhelmed due to lots of preparation. I had to prepare like Java concepts and explanation, DS, and problem solving. So network related concepts, and finally Spring Boot. What should I do? I'm getting frustrated every day due to this. I couldn't focus on one thing at a time due to this. Please enlighten me. Oh wow, man, it's a pretty long question. Let me just try to brief it. Basically, you are currently working in a role which is outdated from the current job market. Okay, now you have to prepare like 10 things for an interview. If you already hate your job, that's a huge motivation for you to just go out and prepare. Now, funny thing about preparation is you only have to do it once. Next time you just have to revise, or even sometimes even if you don't revise, you can still call out. The other good thing about giving interviews is with every single interview, you actually build expertise on all of the questions that interview asks. So in your case, what I would suggest you is, number one, go out and give as many interviews as you can. With every single interview, try to prepare as best as you can without overwhelming yourself. Let's just say job requires you to prepare like Java and Spring Boot and maybe MySQL and NoSQL database and maybe like some cloud concepts. Okay, just a pretty standard. You are only able to prepare for Java and Spring Boot. Okay, fine, just prepare for Java and Spring Boot. Go and appear that interview. They will ask you questions about cloud, and you would just be honest and say that, hey, I wasn't able to prepare, or I haven't worked that in my current role, but I can learn it quickly and I can figure it out. Let's say you don't make cut and you don't get through with that interview. All the questions that they ask you in that particular interview, just note them down, come home and make sure to prepare all of those questions. So next time when you appear in an interview, you would have already prepared Java, Spring Boot, and the cloud-based questions that you didn't know beforehand. And that's how you actually build your skills. Plus, if you do many interviews and if you fail many times, you actually stop having fear of failure, which is a good thing. So it's okay to be rejected. One person can't know all the things. Um, Not everyone is same. You can get exhausted, you cannot do this or that or whatever. What I can only suggest you is just keep trying, man, and try with small steps. There are networking concepts, and there are Java, and there are Spring Boot, and there are 10 other frameworks, and then there is like Java 21 and Java 16. It can get confusing. And what if you apply for a role and they ask you like DSA and no Java questions, and all you have prepared is just Java? That can happen sometimes. So that's why just take take things slowly and just go like one step at a time. Okay, I hope that answers your question. And yeah, thanks for formatting the question in such a manner that I could follow it throughout the entire chat. Okay, Benny is asking that I'm a mobile developer and my resume is not getting shortlisted for big companies. Is there a second part to this question? I think that's what all Binny asked. If your resume is not getting shortlisted, there are a bunch of techniques. Make sure your resume is like ATS friendly before you apply to any big companies. Make sure, see if you can get referrals somewhere. There is one great place to get referrals. It's LinkedIn. There is another great place to ask for referrals. That's Blind. So see if you can use both of them to your advantage. Having a referral and you apply to a company would significantly increase your chances of at least getting your resume shortlisted. So see if you can do it that way. And if it still doesn't work, try to see if you can improve your resume through like specifically curating with the job or description that is being provided. See what is the ATS score, use ChatGPT or other AI tools to make sure that you compare the job posting with your current resume and if the keywords matches or not. So these are just some techniques. Okay, MD Saiful Islam is asking that, hey, I have 1.5 years of experience, but the job I applied for requires 3 years. Despite this, I received an interview. I'm feeling nervous about facing the interview. Could you guide me going go length step? I mean, man, it's pretty common that interviewer are going to post that, hey, I need 3 years of experience or 5 years of experience or 6 years of experience in this, that, whatnot. When the team is open for the right candidate, they like 3 years of experience is just mean like saying that you should know about this technology if you already worked on it. You can just be very honest and say that, hey, I have close to like 2 years of experience. They are not going to hamper you specifically that, hey, why don't you have 3 years of experience? If that was their biggest point of concern, they wouldn't have asked you for an interview. If they have asked you for an interview, which means they are interested in you. Remember, companies don't have time, and the time they spend on interviewing people is actually a huge wastage for them. So they want to make sure to bring in the people who they are really interested in. They are not bringing in like 10, 15, 20 people just for the sake of hey, let me just call on these people and then just pick on them, or try to do these hard interviews and then see how boost my ego that way. No, company, it's a very good big expense on the company's end, because imagine the person, one or two or three people who are interviewing you are going to be very senior level people, and companies want those senior level people to work on products or problems, not interviewing people, because interviewing people does not produce much of anything except like a good candidate that they might hire. But in order to do that, they have to reach out to like 5-10 people. So if they have asked you for an interview, take it as a victory and just be an interesting person that the people can talk to. So yeah, that's what my approach would be. Okay. Yeah, Kim, I read everything at once. I hope I answered your question. Sir, are Android and web projects enough for a resume in starting, or should I explore more field like Gen AI, DevOps, and advanced tech due to saturation and AI's impact? I mean, the thing is, the more things you have in your resume, it's going to look good. But if you have your legs spread out too much, you won't be good at any one thing. So it's a balancing act that you have to maintain. If someone comes to me and say that, hey, I did DSA for 1 month and I did this website and then I try to learn Gen AI, and I ask questions and they have like just brief or shallow idea about each one of them. Instead, someone comes to me and say that, hey, I spent 2 months researching building this Android app. I blow my brains out because I had to learn these 10 new things in order to build it and make sure that it works well. But now I have gained this experience. You know what? I'm going to be more inclined towards meeting the second person, because that person actually did put in time, resources, efforts in conquering something that he did not had any idea about. So uh, of course Gen AI is going to be there, it's going to penetrate the market. Get understanding what Gen AI is, how it works, how the companies are leveraging it. Of course, I'm not saying that don't do that, but at the same time, make sure that you understand what projects are you going to actually share, because companies are going to ask you questions based on, number one, their job posting, and number two, what you have done in the past. Now, the only thing you have to show is going to be your personal projects, because if you go and say that, hey, I did like this last 6 semesters of computer science courses, guess what? Everyone in your batch has already done the same thing. So what else? What else is your concern. Like, what else is your USB basically? So, okay, Sunny is asking that, sir, which direction should we go? Data science or web development? People with data science are earning way more than web developer. Yeah, that's true. I wouldn't lie. Web science is getting more traction, of course, but at the same time, uh, there isn't like a golden rule. Many people won't even like data science, so I would suggest that try both the things. See if you have genuine interest in data. It's a very lucrative field. A lot of good, important, smart things to learn, especially if you gain expertise in like Databricks and Snowflake and understand how it works, and also like how does the large LLMs work and how you can actually find meaningful information from a huge chunk of data, or actually clean up the existing data. If you can do these things, they are really in high in demand. So yeah, data science is a good field in my opinion. Now I personally have been like a backend developer in past, so I can say that is also a good field. But yeah, data science is actually getting becoming better. Okay, one is asking that I did bachelor's in data science field and also did internship too, but didn't get a full-time offer. Now I'm working in TCS as a backend Java developer. How can I get back in data science? Just keep learning about data science. Create a resume specifically catered towards data science. Even in the TCS, see if you can find some openings related to data science, because TCS is, it's a huge company and they hire all sorts of people, so you can find some role that way. And at the same time, keep on applying for all the different data science related roles. So it's, yeah, it's not rocket science. Just, yeah, consistent effort needs to be at your part, and also try to see if you can improve on your existing skills. Is your A Rawat is asking that, is your DSA playlist enough to crack a job on campus placement? Because I think in the next 3-4 months for me is going to be most important, because after June placement, yeah, okay, the list that I have created is actually enough or sufficient for actually like big tech company interviews. So like companies like Amazon and Facebook and Google and whatnot. So if you can go through the entire playlist and understand the problem. So I'm not just saying that if I ask you that, hey, the problem is remove duplicate, and you've seen that problem remove duplicate or like contains duplicate, um, will you be able to solve it or not? If I give you a random problem that is not part of my playlist, will you still be able to see that problem and understand that what is going to be the underlying pattern I'm going to use and how can I solve that problem, and what does your thinking process looks like? If you can get to that level, then of course that would be more than sufficient. Now in my opinion, I think that playlist is sufficient because it contains like a lot of questions, and I try to go deep into explanation, so hopefully it should be sufficient, yeah, in my opinion. Yeah, I really appreciate as well. Thanks, Kim. I'm from tier 3 college. Placement was not that good. I am 2024 pass out. Yeah, that's fine. As long as you still have job at TCS, right? So yeah, you can find more roles at TCS and hopefully that would work out. Any more questions? Anyone? Or I think we reach at the end. If do anyone wants to appear for a mock interview, because that's what I originally created the stream for. If anyone wants to appear for a mock interview right now, ping me your email address and I can send out a meeting link or invite, and we can do a mock interview that way. If not, I'm also getting pretty tired. I'll be just happy to go and get some sleep. What do you guys think? Oh, by the way, what do you think about my background? Do you think it still looks bland, or can I improve anything on that? So, your paid courses? Sunny, I don't do paid courses, man. I only do free courses. Put them on YouTube. Now there is one shady website I want to warn you about. Its name is Code Monk Academy. Now what they did is they took my courses from YouTube and just put them on their website and started charging money for people. So if you at any given point see any courses that are like my paid courses, just understand that that company is trying to scam you, because I would typically never do that. Yeah, thanks. And art says this today. Sir, you are monk in this field. Oh, thanks, man. Uh, Sir, I will have work experience as Java developer, but I want to be in data science. How can I convince into? Just tell them, man, that hey, I currently work as a Java developer because when I was in college, I didn't have much choice. But personally, I like data. I like learning about it. And I have done these things. And yeah, I don't even think that interviews going to be that much interested. They might ask you a question that hey, currently you are working as a Java developer, why do you want to become data science, why do you want to come into data science? Just tell them that hey, I'm interested in learning about data, finding meaningful information, and I have done these things, and I have also done my internship as a data scientist or data analyst, so I have that experience, and I worked as a Java developer. Nothing against Java developer, but I just personally like data science more. If you answer that, of course the interviewer would be like that, hey, this person actually has exposure of both the things, and he chose data science, so why not I just pick him over someone else? So that can be like a good suggestion. Yeah, happy to help everyone. So now i'll I'll end this live stream. I think I answered most of the questions, and no one wants to do live, like a live mock interview. Maybe next time. Okay, one last question about Java. I wouldn't answer any more questions after this because I'll end the stream. But I'm studying in IT. I have 3 years of testing experience in automation industry. I want to switch to front end. Please give me some tips on what will they expect prior experience in front end. I mean, they would know. They would need to know. Maybe you have experience with like React or HTML, CSS, or other like front end systems. So maybe like different applications or something that you have worked on, maybe UX UI experience, so that can come in handy. Now if you don't have that kind of work experience but you have been in the IT industry, yeah, you can just tell them that hey, I worked in IT industry as this particular role or this kind, but I want to switch to front end. For that I have been doing personal projects on my own and learning these skills through like Udemy or YouTube, or and this is what the personal projects I've done, this is my GitHub, and I can show you these things, and this is my portfolio, something like that. You can create that a profile like that, and that would work out. Okay guys, I will end the stream now. It's been a pleasure. Any more questions, feel free to post in the comments, and I would do more live streams soon. Take care.